Samurai, symbols of loyalty, honor, and discipline. We know them from movies, anime, and countless legends. But behind the fantasy, there lived a real man whose story was so powerful, so tragic, that it inspired Hollywood's blockbuster, The Last Samurai. His name was Saigō Takamori, born in 1828, dead by 1877, hailed as the true last samurai of Japan. This is not just a story of sword fights and rebellion. It's about the transformation of a nation, the death of one era, and the painful birth of another. From his humble beginnings in Kagoshima to leading the Meiji Restoration that toppled centuries of shogunate rule, and finally, to raising his sword one last time in defiance of the new Japan he helped create. Stay with us, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why Saigō Takamori is remembered as both a rebel and a hero, a tragic figure who became larger than life, and why his story still echoes in Japan today. Saigō Takamori was born on January 23, 1828 in Kagoshima, in the Satsuma domain of southern Japan. At the time, Japan was still under the strict control of the Tokugawa shogunate, which had ruled for more than 250 years. Society was rigidly structured: samurai, farmers, artisans, and merchants, with the samurai class holding power and prestige. But Saigō wasn't born into wealth. His family were low-ranking samurai, enough to give him education and discipline, but not luxury. He grew up tough, resilient, and loyal to the ideals of honor and service. His reputation as a man of integrity quickly set him apart. In his early years, he became close to Shimazu Nariakira, the progressive daimyo of Satsuma. Shimazu recognized Saigō's intelligence and loyalty and promoted him into important roles. Saigō soon found himself at the heart of major political movements, dealing with crises like foreign encroachment. Because by the mid-1800s, Japan could no longer remain closed off from the world. Western powers were at Japan's doorstep demanding trade. Saigō believed Japan had to modernize to survive, but he also wanted to preserve samurai values. This inner conflict between tradition and modernization would define his life. By the 1860s, the Tokugawa shogunate was crumbling. Corruption, weakness, and pressure from the West exposed its fragility. The slogan of the time became "Sono Joy," revere the emperor, expel the barbarians. Saigō Takamori was among the passionate leaders calling for the restoration of imperial power. In 1868, Saigō played a decisive role in the Boshin War, the civil war between forces loyal to the Tokugawa shogun and those supporting the emperor. His leadership in the Battle of Toba Fushimi secured victory for the imperial cause. The result? The Meiji Restoration. The emperor was restored to power, the shogunate was abolished, and Japan embarked on a path of radical modernization: new armies, new schools, railroads, industry. Saigō himself became a general and a statesman in the new government. For a brief time, he was a national hero, the samurai who helped build modern Japan. But there was a problem. The reforms that followed threatened the very class Saigō came from: the samurai. Stipends were cut, swords were banned, and the warrior elite who had once been Japan's backbone were stripped of their status. To Saigō, modernization was necessary, but at what cost? To him, it felt like Japan was losing its soul. By the mid-1870s, Saigō Takamori grew increasingly alienated from the Meiji government. He opposed rapid westernization, fearing Japan was abandoning its traditions. He resigned from his post and returned to Kagoshima, where discontent was boiling. Thousands of former samurai, angry at their loss of status, rallied to him. In 1877, this anger exploded into the Satsuma Rebellion. Saigō, though initially reluctant, became the leader of the revolt, an army of samurai facing the modernized conscript army of the Meiji government. At first, they won small victories, but soon, rifles, artillery, and modern tactics overwhelmed the samurai warriors. The romantic image of sword-wielding samurai clashing with gunfire played out in brutal reality. The rebellion culminated in the Battle of Shiroyama in September 1877. Saigō and his remaining 500 men faced tens of thousands of government troops, outnumbered, outgunned, but unbroken in spirit. On the morning of September 24th, Saigō was badly wounded. Accounts differ. Some say he committed seppuku, others that a follower helped end his suffering. What's certain is that he died as a samurai, fighting for values he believed Japan was leaving behind. His death marked the symbolic end of the samurai era. After his death, Saigō Takamori was officially branded a traitor, but the people remembered him differently. As a man of principle, honor, and loyalty even in defeat, his legend grew. Statues were raised in Kagoshima and Tokyo's Ueno Park. Stories spread of his courage, his simplicity, and his devotion to justice. Eventually, even the Meiji government realized his importance. They issued a posthumous pardon, transforming him from rebel into national hero. To this day, Saigo is celebrated as a tragic figure, the man who stood at the crossroads of Japan's past and future. And what about Hollywood's The Last Samurai? While fictionalized, the film's central character, played by Ken Watanabe, was inspired by Saigo's life and the Satsuma Rebellion. The movie dramatized the clash between old Japan and new, echoing the very struggle Saigo embodied. But Saigo's real story is even more powerful. He was not just a warrior, he was a bridge between worlds, a man who helped birth modern Japan yet could not live in it. His life reminds us of the cost of progress and the enduring power of honor and tradition. Saigō Takamori, the real last samurai. A hero, a rebel, and a legend. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments. Do you think Saigo was a hero? Or a fool? Until next time, this was the story of the last samurai.